All right, good morning, everybody. This is the Fantasy Sports Boss. Another wild day of NFL wildcard action on Sunday, with the highlight being the New York Giants upsetting, and I put the word upsetting in quotes, the Minnesota Vikings in Minnesota, which any of you who've been following me throughout the course of the season knows that I've said on and on and on that the Vikings were a paper tiger, that they were ripe to be upset. I did not believe in this team one bit. And was confident that the Giants would get it done, and they did. Daniel Jones officially has arrived. That's another thing I've been saying all along. Daniel Jones is a better player than he's been given credit for, and he showed it yesterday. Absolutely balled out. Tremendous outing for him. And the Giants now advance, playing with house money to take on the Philadelphia Eagles next week. Now, hit the subscribe, hit the notification button. Delving into the offseason of fantasy football now, and also discussing the playoff games and the NFL draft, which is going to be coming up. And maybe even tinkering and throwing in some fantasy baseball stuff going forward. But we'll start off today in terms of analysis with the Giants game. So again, wasn't buying this Vikings team from the very beginning. I just as great a player as Justin Jefferson is, and T.J. Hawkinson and Dalvin Cook, the players on offense, I have no faith in Kirk Cousins when it comes to crunch time, when it comes to big games. Now, generally, he played well yesterday, Cousins. He started off very hot, and his statistical output was very good yesterday. But we saw the last drive of the game, throwing to T.J. Hawkinson on fourth down, well short of the first down marker. Why you would even make that throw with Xavier McKinney right there in coverage. And if you look at the play before it unfolds, McKinney was pretty much, right on his hip the whole time. So yes, even though Hawkinson caught the ball, there was no chance he was going to get a first down. So it just goes to show you the flawed thought process of Kirk Cousins when it comes to crunch time, when it comes to big games. And that was just a horrible decision, throwing it short. Throw it down the field, throw it to Jefferson. And I know Jefferson really struggled in the second half getting free from Adoree Jackson, who returned for the Giants. Their ace cornerback did a tremendous job. But you throw it short. I mean, look at Tyler Huntley, the last play of the Ravens-Bengals game. He threw it up there into the end zone, and it almost was caught. I mean, it was literally almost a miracle play, and then I think the Ravens would have went for two and possibly have stolen that game. Cousins didn't even give his team a chance, throwing it short of the first down marker. So that was just a really bad job there. But, as far as Daniel Jones is concerned, I've been saying it all season long. This guy is legit. When I posted the early quarterback preview for Fantasy Football 2023, I had him ranked number 12. I might even need to have to move him up going forward. We are seeing Josh Allen light production from Daniel Jones. Now you say, oh, Josh Allen, how could you possibly compare Daniel Jones and Josh Allen? The reason why I can is because of Brian Daboll, who helped mold Josh Allen from a flawed, terribly inconsistent, awful accuracy quarterback coming out of Wyoming to the stud, the number one guy he is today. Daboll's now working with Daniel Jones. We are seeing Daniel Jones perform like Josh Allen with no weapons, by the way, running the football, throwing the football. He's done his best work down the stretch. It really is impressive. And I think next season when the Giants draft a receiver, which I think they will do in the first round, or they sign somebody in free agency, I don't think they'll do that after the Kenny Golladay thing blew up in their face. Daniel Jones is legit. And, Dave Gettleman, for all the crap that he took as the GM here, and a lot of it was deserved, he drafted, Saquon Barkley number 2, which, was debatable, but he was huge yesterday with 2 touchdowns. He drafted Daniel Jones 6th overall when everybody said no way, no how. Dwayne Haskins should have went ahead of him. That was, a reach, this and that. He drafted Dexter Lawrence, who people felt he was only a 2-down defensive lineman, wasn't a pass rusher. Just finishing up a Pro Bowl season as arguably one of the best defensive tackles in football. He drafted Andrew Thomas, the all-pro left tackle. So he drafted Xavier McKinney, who made the stop on T.J. Hawkinson to win the game. So Dave Gettleman really made some good draft picks. Darius Slayton, who caught 4 balls for over 80 yards yesterday. I know he had the big drop, but these are all guys that Dave Gettleman drafted and who contributed mightily yesterday. Now, in terms of Daniel Jones and the numbers, 17 carries for 78 yards, so really doing it on the ground, 24-35 passing, 301 yards. And Isaiah Hodgins, 8 catches for 105 yards. Scored again. I believe it's 5 of the last 6 games now he scored. He is legit. I told you guys, fantasy football season, a couple of weeks ago, I said pick up Isaiah Hodgins. He's really starting to come to fruition now. They got him from the streets. The Bills, an organization has pretty much done everything right of late. Stupidly dropped him for nothing, and the Giants picked him up. Dable already knew who he was, having worked with him in Buffalo, and he has been an absolute stud, star, revelation, whatever you want to call it. Next season in fantasy football, Isaiah Hodgins is going to have a sleeper video all to his own, for sure. And as far as Daniel Jones in fantasy football, top 12 for sure, maybe even a little higher. I think at this point, you would take Daniel Jones over Deshaun Watson. You could have a conversation with Daniel Jones and Justin Fields. Justin Fields runs the ball like a maniac, but Daniel Jones is the better passer. So you could make the argument that Daniel Jones should go ahead of Justin Fields next season. I wouldn't put him ahead of Trevor Lawrence, who I absolutely love. But Daniel Jones is legit. I've been saying it all season, finally getting the credit that he deserves. So, and listen, the Giants are playing with house money. They're getting a banged-up Eagles team who couldn't put away the junior varsity Giants until the very end of the game in Week 18 when the Giants pretty much sat everybody. You have a fresh Saquon Barkley who ran for 2 touchdowns. He had burst. He had acceleration. He played tough. He absolutely ran over Dalvin Tomlinson, scoring that touchdown from in close. He looks refreshed. It was a long season. It was getting to him. He looked like he was on fumes. But Saquon Barkley now is ready to go, and he's firing on all cylinders. The Giants are playing with confidence. Brian Dable is pushing all the right buttons. I absolutely believe that the Giants could give the Eagles a really, really strong game and maybe even spring the upset. San Francisco 49ers, that's the team that's still coming out of the NFC, in my opinion. As a Giant fan myself, I can't see them beating the 49ers, but at this point, who would have ever saw the Giants beating the New England Patriots back in Super Bowl 42, the undefeated New England Patriots? So, this is a funny game. Look at the Miami Dolphins hanging in with the Buffalo Bills yesterday. The Baltimore Ravens hanging to the very last play where they almost won on that Hail Mary that really should have been caught against the Cincinnati Bengals yesterday. So this Giants team is legit. I think that they're really going to give the Eagles a major run for their money. Now, as far as the other games, Miami Dolphins should not hang their heads. They hung tight with the Buffalo Bills. They had a lead in the second half. Skylar Thompson, I know he threw the 2 picks. It was rough sledding for him, but he should keep his head up too because he made some throws, to keep the team in the game. It was an impossible situation for Skylar Thompson against the Buffalo Bills defense, is one of the best in the league. Playoff game, 3rd-string quarterback, hardly got any reps all season, and now to ask him to win a playoff game, he almost pulled it off. And honestly, Mike McDaniel, who I've had a lot of praise for, screwed up a lot with this. I mean, you cannot put your 3rd-string quarterback in a situation where the play clock is winding down, you don't get the play in on time, you have to call timeouts. It ruins the whole flow of the drive, and McDaniel really did a bad job there. A guy who's pushed a lot of the right buttons this season, he let Skylar Thompson down in the second half of that game. And as far as the Bills, Josh Allen, the one thing you worry about with Josh Allen are the turnovers. He had 2 interceptions. He had a lost fumble for a touchdown. He does play with his hair on fire. He is Brett Favre reincarnated with much better speed in terms of trying to fit in passes into the tiniest of windows that result in turnovers. That's just how it is with Josh Allen. So would that undermine him against the Kansas City Chiefs or even the Cincinnati Bengals? Absolutely. That's what you have to worry about if you're a Bills fan. And I still think the Bills, they're playing. I think they might have overlooked the Dolphins a little bit. And really, when you play a divisional opponent in the playoffs, it's always a close game. I mean, we saw that with the Bengals-Ravens game. We saw that with the Dolphins-Bills game. Close games all around when it comes to division foes. And that's why I think the Giants-Eagles is going to be a tough game next week for the Eagles as well. All right, finally, the Ravens and the Bengals. No surprise that the Bengals won, but more surprised that it was more of a struggle for them to put away a Ravens team with Tyler Huntley, who played well. I thought Tyler Huntley kept them in. It was just a garbage call with the quarterback sneak from the 3-yard line that the Bengals wound up returning for a touchdown. Without that play, the Ravens probably would win this game. I mean, that was just way too far. Chris Collinsworth said it right. It was way too far to try a quarterback sneak. Having him up in the air like that with the football, swatted out easily. Hubbard, the defender, picked it up and goes the entire distance of the field, showed more speed than I thought he had. And that was just a major turning point in the game. And let me just talk about John Harbaugh for a second. So I'm sure, it got a lot of attention. Melissa Stark, longtime broadcaster, sideline reporter, whatever you want to call her, was interviewing John Harbaugh. I believe it was at the end of the first quarter, and Harbaugh was he acted like a complete jerk. Terse, short answers, faces. Now, I know that these interviews are annoying for coaches. I get it, because the last thing they want to do is take any time out of away from the game to talk to a reporter and just give them no answer to questions. They really just want to get on with the game and not have to deal with this. I totally get it. And there's a lot of frustration and stress in these games, but you need to act like a professional, especially when you're talking to a woman. But instead, Harbaugh acted like a complete jerk, and just like his brother. The Harbaugh patriarch there, I'm sure, is not too proud of the way his boys have handled their behavior, during their coaching careers. Very, very. It should be embarrassing for John Harbaugh when he goes back and watches that. It was completely uncalled for. He did not have to speak to her in that manner. And this is an impossible situation for Melissa Stark. That they don't get any answers. It's like an intrusion for sure. But show some class. I mean, just show a little bit of class. So I was happy that the Ravens lost, because that left a bad taste in my mouth. But anyway, so that's the wrap up for the playoff games. From Sunday tonight, we had Dallas and Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is going to beat them. We all know Dallas, when the moment gets big, things tend to implode on the Dallas Cowboys. So I think that they're going to go down tonight against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the New York Giants are the story of the day. All right, hit that subscribe, hit that notification button. More videos on the way.